Hi, good morning. Kind of just happy Monday. It is Monday, right? No, it's Tuesday. Oh my gosh. I'm a whole day behind, so how about that? Goodness, sometimes the days all run together. Just hanging out and waiting for Kate to join in. Hi. Hey, Kate. I am just going to, or today, I guess, not me. I'm just waiting for Kate. Today we're just kind of going to talk about, we kind of realized we were talking the other day and we talked too much about kind of the why behind She Health, kind of how we got here, what we believe, what we think about. Hi, Kate.
Well, are you wearing like blue screen glasses?
I am. Why is it weird?
No, they're just like tinted yellow. It's funny.
Oh, I am.
No,
It was.
but
I can take them off. Yeah.
no, it looks great.
Hey, wait. I
Yellow.
have a different one. Hang on. How's that? Is that better?
No, it's still yellow, but
Oh,
I just was curious.
yeah. I always wear blue screen because I'm on the stupid screen all day long. This
Yeah,
screen, the computer screen.
I have them in my contacts.
You do?
Oh yeah, new technology. Pretty cool.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah.
didn't even know that.
All right.
So here we are. I was just saying that, we don't talk very much about like why, like what and who and where did She Health come from? Oh, and she's leaving me already, just as I start.
So to shut the door.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was just saying we don't talk too much about that. And so today we thought we'd kind of do a, hey, this is who we are and what we believe and our mission and those kinds of things, just to give
And
people
then,
an idea, right?
and then we also wanted to touch on like if you're new to holistic health, or even if you're like skeptical about it or you want to just dip your toe into it, we're going to give you our personal like top 5 recommendations for like
Getting started.
easy free ways to get started, things that we think can make a difference for anybody regardless of testing and spending money and whatever, and knowing specifics of your body. Like these 5 things are definitely things that everyone can do. They're simple and free and our real starting off point. It's what we really tell all of our clients if they're like, hey, I have no idea what holistic health is or where to start. This is usually this is the path we start people on. So we'll get into that as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, so just to start, like we want to share with you guys our story, where like how we got together as mom and daughter deciding to do this thing. So yeah, go ahead. Why don't you start where
well,
it
yeah, and
really
I was
started
just
with
gonna say,
you? I said it started with you.
started
So
with me. Yeah, it started with me. But I wanted to just say for a second. So this She Health or She, you'll see it capitalized a lot, and that's because it actually is an acronym. She stands for your superior health experience, and so and that kind of came out of my past experience as a nurse practitioner in conventional medicine and realizing that not only was the experience to go to the doctor not superior, it's something you dread. Who wants, you're not going to get time. You're not going to get your, even the old write down all of your concerns so you can talk about them when you come in. And then it's like, and then we're taught in school to sit down across from you and say, all right, well, we don't really have time to address your whole list. So why don't you just give me the top 1 or 2 and let's see if we can get through those in the next 15 minutes. And so, so once I left the conventional world and moved into functional medicine about 8, 9-ish years ago, started to think about, the things that I really wanted to provide for the people that I was seeing and all of my clients and patients. And so that's kind of where the superior health experience kind of was born out of, and to really give the person in front of you the time, the care, the opportunity to really be able to dive deep, figure out what's going on, listen to their concerns, their life, their experiences, what's happening, and just, I don't know, just really connect with somebody versus a 15-minute meeting where, in the end, all I'm going to do is be a drug dealer. So that's kind of where it came from.
Right, right. And I think not, I mean, what was my thought process? I don't even know where I was going to go with that. But I think for you too, when you left conventional, it was funny because I grew up, that's what I grew up with. We grew up in that realm. And then I remember you talking about people who would come in and say, oh, well, I tried like these supplements and this thing, and you would think they were crazy.
Yep.
And
I was totally brainwashed by my education.
right, right. So I remember when you left too, you used to like, it was funny. I feel like when you left conventional medicine, it wasn't necessarily because you were like, I don't believe in it anymore. You were just tired of the not being able to actually truly help the person sitting before you because you had no relationship.
Right.
So I think for you, it was like, oh, well, what is this functional medicine thing where people are actually like, like going into partnership with their patient instead of see you in a year with no guidance. And so I think that's like a really interesting point too to make, because it wasn't until you started diving into the education and getting trained in functional medicine that you're like, holy shit, what have I done?
So true. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, and that point is interesting to make. So yeah, but it really was about a spirit health experience, and where I came into the mix was I was your guinea pig and had been your guinea pig for like the last 12 years since you first started,
Wow.
just because of all my health issues. But I was the person, as far as health is concerned, I had the very like generic, basic idea of health that I think a lot of women have. I've been on literally, I think I've done every single trend, fad, diet that there is in the world.
Starting when you're about 13.
Yeah, like starting young. I've had all of the not all, but I've had a lot of the concerns that a lot of women have as far as periods, fertility, miscarriages,
Wait.
weight, like hormonal, like all of the things. And it wasn't, and that I did heavy exercise. I was like super into CrossFit for a while and loved to compete and those types of things. And I think, I did have a very basic, like not basic, but a very warped sense of what healthy meant. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I even really started to understand and learn. And that's when I decided to do my health coach certification. So we were doing it. We were kind of like on the same path, but different paths. And you do it being in a private clinic. You wanted a health coach.
Yes.
Yeah. Go
Well,
ahead.
and honestly, the health coach is where the rubber meets the road. The health coach is the one that gets you over those humps, is your daily cheerleader, so to speak, and the person that's really gonna, come alongside of you. Not that I don't, but it is that partnership between the two of us that allows us to really give that really, supportive experience to our clients.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So we really, the reason why we got together to start this specifically was after I had my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and I went through postpartum depression, and within that,
I would say
we
significant postpartum depression.
well, we started together to start to really investigate, like, the deep effects of stress in the body, and how to heal and rebalance that, because at that point I knew enough, and I think I was also very like, I'm not depressed. Like, I was very like, I'm not admitting to that. And I was like, oh, we'll just have to figure it out. And I definitely didn't want to do prescription medications and all the things. But I think that we discovered that it was really about healing the nervous system and putting that back into place. And when we did that and we figured out this plan, as you were helping other people in your private clinic, you started to realize, oh, this is essentially what I've been doing for women in general for years. So let's make this into a protocol to help more people. And I, of course, was very much so on board, because I wanted to help women feel like I felt, So that's where she, being helping women, and the Superior Health Experience, that's where they collided. And we started this about a year ago now.
Yeah, it is almost a year, yeah.
Yeah, so we focus our work specifically on helping women create really or revolutionize really their own well-being by balancing their nervous system, so that we can really optimize mental and emotional health. And we do it really through the physical origin. So what's going on in your physical body? Where are you deficient? Where are you depleted? How do we need to support your body physically, and how that translates to mental and emotional well-being. Right. So
because I think over the last, I know this is me being the boring geek here, but through the last few years, we're really learning a ton about those connections, those true physical connections, not the old school you have a chemical imbalance connection, but these physical connections that we have between our gut and our brain and our nervous system being such a huge part of what's going on, and then the overall health, and how all of those things all tie together, especially in women, around your hormones and your thyroid and all of those things that we kind of automatically go to, but we're still not hitting the source. We're still just attacking one particular system instead of looking at that overall interconnectedness that happens in the body. So
right. Yeah, and I think too with that, there is a new age, hopefully, I'm hoping that we're, a part of it and trailblazers in that sense, that people are starting to realize that your mental and emotional health is not separate from your physical body. I mean, it's not, the brain is a biochemical organ that responds to what's going on in your body. It's not separate. And it's not just an imbalance in the brain, it's imbalance everywhere. So I think and I think hopefully people will start to recognize that. And that's really, our overall mission is to push that forward, because I feel like a lot of the women that we see, their main concerns as far as health, outside of sometimes physical pain, really do deal with mental and emotional symptoms. We're talking about being really exhausted, really irritable, having our moods be all over the place.
Can't think of things like brain fog, like just that not connecting, not firing, not,
Yeah, feeling extremely burnt out. Those types there is the anxiousness, the depression, and we're seeing it more and more and more. Now, we do get a lot of the hormonal issues, the acne, the painful periods, infertility, weight gain, those types of very physical things as well. But we're seeing more and more and more women come to us really with that mental and emotional symptoms. Right. So with that, that's really where we want to help and where we want to hitch our wagon, if you will. So yeah, and I think for us too, this plays into a bigger picture and a more overall mission for women's health. I think right now, if you all, maybe you agree or disagree, but I think it's pretty hard to ignore that there's a very big division in this country. There's a separation of family, friends. There's a weakening of communities.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I mean, I do, but I don't. Keep going.
I think that, and I know we've talked about this, but as a mission, like I truly believe that women, the part of the reason that this is happening is that women today are being suppressed, like our natural, God-given,
yeah, we were created to, yeah.
Well, our attributes, like to nurture, to care for, to feel things, to like be, like we are very emotional creatures, and we're very cyclical emotional creatures. and right now, today, that feminine energy and that feminine attribute is being suppressed, and it's being suppressed by pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
And
that is a huge piece of it. Yeah.
And if you think about this, if you think about it, women's health, right? When we go to get help, majority of the time we are given birth control, anything from like, PMS to, menopause, we're given birth control, hormone replacements, antidepressants, anti-anxiety, all these things are to suppress our natural attributes of being, emotional, being feelers, being nurturers, being those people, and just to make us functional, to make us like merely just functional. They want us to function in the world that was never, designed for
a female. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we believe that with true women's health, if we can optimize women's health, because so many women are suffering today, which is, I believe, a reason why we're seeing like all these weakenings of communities, this division, this separation of family, friends, these types of things. If we can optimize women's health, when women's cups are full, when those true attributes in nature is not being suppressed by pharmaceuticals, we will naturally pour into our friends, pour into our communities. It's what's kind of built into us, and we'll be stronger. We'll be able to promote the sense of belonging, the sense of unification that's so desperately needed. And we wanted to create SHE as a larger overall mission to be able to facilitate that real change, because within that, when women's cups are full and they're like in their full glory, the magnitude and the impact of what we can accomplish is huge. Right. I mean, I think that's also part of the reason why they want us to just function a certain way, because then no one fights for a better future. Because honestly, like that nurturing part of us, what that really means is that we care about future generations. Like we fight for future generations.
Right.
And so a bigger overall mission is really to get women out from underneath these pharmaceutical companies, and get them to start really expressing themselves the way that they're intended to, the way we were intended to.
And we do that through optimal health. I mean, we do that through, being able to address all of those symptoms that we're taking those pharmaceuticals for at their origin, where they're occurring in the body, reverse that process so that that's no longer needed. And you do have the ability, I mean, like when you're optimally healthy, and if you just think about like your best days, when you just start like on top of the world without, anything, that's how we want you to be able to feel the majority of your time. Right. Everybody's going to have off days. Everybody's going to have periods of being, sick and having things happen and high stress and all those things. But it's like, but the majority of your time should be in a very optimal, healthy, joyful place. So, I mean, and that I think is really, the whole, the big purpose behind this. And we do it, by addressing the things that we see people coming to us for. Like it's kind of, interesting, the, kind of the buckets where, people come in with certain sets of symptoms in certain periods of, a woman's life. And, it all changes. It changes from your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. It's constantly evolving. And so it's learning how to adjust and be able to keep that optimal health level and energy and everything too. And I think this isn't something that's like, a lot of times we've kind of been blaming the pandemic, the last couple of years. Yeah, it's certainly exacerbated the problem, but this has been going on since the 50s, where, I mean, it really has. It's been going on since after World War II. Women, getting or being, like outside of the home for the first time, then going back, and it's like, okay, well, now I don't know what to do with myself. And that's where the pharmaceuticals started happening. And, so I can remember back with my mom and her age group, in the 60s, Valium was called Mama's Little Helper. And it just became a part of our culture to just suppress the things that we were uncomfortable with. So anyway.
And I think too, I mean, it wasn't just women suppressing themselves, but it was also a part of, like, it was a marketing ploy too, because women at that time and today, we are trying to do everything.
Yep.
And we're being told that we can or we have to. And that, you get it from both sides. If you're a stay-at-home mom, like, oh, you just threw away your career and, oh, that's so lame in a sense. And then you get it from the other side. If you're in your career, like, oh, like you should be home with your kids. And okay, well, how do I have both? And it's like, yeah, pharmaceuticals help there. That's a lot of stress. And you're being marketed to, you're being like, you're an easy target. We're an easy target for those things. Especially because we care, we care about our family, we care about, and that, like, with
we care about our family, our community, the world at large. How do we make these changes? What do we do? You're right. It is about our empathy that we innately have.
So it makes us easy targets. And I think about that with postpartum, like, for new moms, we're so easily preyed upon because the fear and the insecurities and oh my God, I'm going to fail and I'm going to screw up my kids and I'm going to ruin my family and all these things. It's like, you are an easy target. Be like, okay, here, just take this. Like, it's going to be okay. You're like, yes, please, God, I'll do anything, because you don't want to feel that way. And so it is kind of this mass suppression of women and what optimal health really looks like and means. I think that there's a more insidious reason behind that, and I do think that it comes from the fact that if we're not suppressed, if our nature is not suppressed, then we can do a lot of damage in their eyes. I guess we can do a lot of things. We can make a lot of changes. We are capable of a lot.
And it's not, I mean, this isn't,
and we're operating in that place.
Yeah, no, and I just wanted to say, it's like, this isn't, men aren't good at these things too. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not like they don't make change or they can't do things or whatever. It's just that as women, our very nature is to do these things, is to look outward and be looking at bigger picture, community, life, family. How do we bring people along? How do we bring people in? It is, we are, that is just who we are built. That's how we're built. So, it is interesting.
Yeah. So the biggest reason we're here is we want to help women that are presenting with chronic stress, right? Chronic symptoms of stress in every stage of their life, whether that's preconception, no babies, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, and really get them out from underneath these drug companies and provide them with optimal wellness so that they can have this superior experience and just go on to be naturally balanced, physically balanced, and then hopefully feel like they can, be the person that they really truly want to be.
Right.
Whatever capacity that means. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, hopefully that gives you a little sense of kind of the why behind why we created She, and who it's for and what it's about. And we could talk about it all day, but we want to keep it a little bit short. So, hey, drop us a question. Let us know what you think. If you're watching, like, just, what are your thoughts on all of that? How do you feel about that? Like, we would just love to hear some feedback, from everybody, to just kind of understand what are you thinking, like, and how do you connect with that or not? Both sides. We'd love to have the conversation. But I think we could move on to, like, what are some of those quick, easy hit kinds of things where it's like, I'm not quite sure about this whole health journey. There's so much stuff out there. How do I just kind of get going and make small little changes that really can have big impacts on your overall everyday?
Right. And our first one, the very first one, we're going to talk about 5 today. And like I said, these are things that, like, if our clients are new to functional medicine, holistic health, these are the 5 things that we will suggest for really anybody without knowing too much information or history. And the very first one, and it's probably one you guys have heard, but it's to talk about organic foods. It is important.
It is.
The toxins that we're exposed to every day, all day, especially for women, that disrupt our hormones, they're severe and they're everywhere. It's not just in your food. Food is a very easy way to start to eliminate some of the toxin exposure. And now, yes, organic food can be more expensive. We have tips for that. The 2 biggest ones is buy seasonally and shop locally. Pretty much, I think everyone, at least that are in cities or more populated areas, have farmers markets. Get to know your farmers in the area. And what's great too? Great thing about knowing your local farmers is usually, if you have small kids or kids, they usually put on, like, such fun events for kids, and they let you come and explore the farms, and it's really fun days. Like, if you're looking for stuff, usually free. And I mean, it's really fun, and it's fun learning experience for kids too. But those are 2 really big ways to just downplay the cost. But other way that we encourage people to do is look at the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. Those are going to be the foods. The Dirty Dozen are the foods you definitely do not want to buy, non-organic, and then the Clean 15 are usually the ones that you can get away with buying non-organic if you are trying to save on cost. So those are my 2.
And I would also, I was just going to add to that. It's like, okay, first of all, both those things are available. Like, you can get a little app or a little download from, that you can put on your phone if you don't want to remember. But some of the easy things to remember is anything that's grown underground, so like a potato, or thin-skinned fruits and vegetables are usually the ones where you want to buy organic, because they absorb the pesticides the most, all the toxic things that can be out on the fields. The other thing is, I was going to say, if you don't have access to organic or whatever, then at least try to find non-GMO, which is genetically modified organisms, modified, pretty much everything that they're modifying. But if you can try to avoid that, because a lot of times what they're using to modify is also toxic and does hit your hormones, so can be disruptors and or imposters that your body recognizes as something that it's not. So just throwing those 2 things in there. So try, if you can't do organic, at least try to do non-GMO.
And then our second one is going to be looking at toxin and toxin exposure, but it's what you're using really in your household every day. We don't expect everyone to go out, especially if you're just starting, to go out and swap out all your cleaning products, all your laundry detergent, all your soaps, all your beauty supplies. That's not the expectation. But you can utilize, we'll give you, and I'll link them to the comments really help post this. There are 2 websites that you can utilize, or apps, they're free, where you can check on the products that you do have. And then when you guys start to like, hey, I'm out of this, maybe I want to switch to something a little bit better, you can use the websites to search for clean, non-toxic products. It's super easy to use, and the database is huge. So they literally have everything in there, from beauty supplies to cleaning supplies. And the first one's the EWG. And the second one is Think Dirty. And again, I'll put the links in the comments below here. But those are 2 apps.
Both of them have, like if you're shopping at Target or whatever, they have a little QR, like you can scan the barcodes and it'll pop up. It's not like you have to sit and type them in. So it's pretty cool. I mean, they've come a long way from where they started about 7-8 years ago. So yeah.
Third thing is going to be your water source. So tap water is horrible. So at least do not drink tap water. The filtration systems that we recommend to people that are really interested in switching up their water, because that can make a huge difference, they can be expensive. So just know that that's an investment. And we just really would tell people to steer away from tap water, and try to get some sort of water filter. I know like the zero water filter is pretty inexpensive. It's not the best, but it is something. And
yeah, it'll take out a couple of the major things, like the chlorine that they use to the bleach that they use to purify the water, those kinds of things. But what it won't take out are some of the more insidious additives like fluoride. So you do want to make sure that if you're buying a water purification, that you really want to make sure it's one that's going to leave the minerals that are good for you in your water. There are some out there that like take everything out. It's like, well, okay. But so that is something to consider as well. So.
Yeah. And we will put a link to a couple of our favorites. Obviously the Berkey is probably like the number one, but it's very expensive. We found a lower price point option that is just as good, honestly, in my opinion, is what I use. Pro One filters, and we actually we have a discount code for you guys if you're looking to invest in a proper water filter or filtration purification system. We'll link that as well for you. But Pro One's great. It is an initial assessment, but the upkeep is
investment.
Yeah, it's an initial investment, but the upkeep is not. The upkeep is literally just as much as if you were going to replace your refrigerator filter once a year. So if you're doing that already, this system, the Pro One, is the same.
Yeah, their filters are very reasonable and do filter out everything. So.
The fourth one, this one we're actually going to do like a whole live about this, a live training about this one, but we do want to touch on it because I do think it's super important, especially for women only. For women, is to start to learn how to naturally track your cycle. This is going to give you so much information about your body, what your body's doing, and how to best support your hormones during the different phases of your cycle. And again, if you guys are interested in learning more about that, I do have a couple posts on it on our Instagram page. And she's going to come on in a couple of weeks and actually talk about this. We're going to do pretty much an entire live devoted to how to naturally cycle, how to come off birth control, and the importance of all of that good stuff. So something to keep in mind. And if I'm saying that and you're like, oh, that sounds super interesting, I think it's August 11th, we decided she will be on to talk about that, and you guys will get notifications as well for that. And I'll make sure you know when that's happening. So that's our fourth one. And then our last one is probably the easiest and simplest one that you guys can do, and it is walking. This is coming from somebody that, again, in my 20s, I was the workout hard, eat zero carbs, and I'm healthy, quote unquote, person. Like, I was like, walking is not gonna do anything. Like, I have to go hard for 45 minutes to an hour in the gym every day. And that's just the biggest BS ever.
Well,
Walking is, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, I am a person that never ever exercised, like no formal nothing. I'll go for a bike ride. I'll play tennis. I'll play golf. I'll do some activities, but I was never going to, never exercise. Tried here and there, not going to exercise. January 1st of this year, I started walking and I was going to make a commitment to walk every day. I walked every day from January 1st until June 8th when we got in a car and drove across the country. And I can tell the difference right now. I'm just starting again. And from that whole time I was walking, and it was like 78 days or something like that, to not walking, the difference in every aspect of my life, every aspect of my sleep, my joints, my ability to digest food. I mean, like, it was remarkable to me. And I'm talking like I do, 35, 45 minutes, not anything big. And I also did my first 10K this year. So, which was, and
you finished it really quickly.
yeah, I know I did pretty good. And it wasn't, I just wanted to, be respectable and be under 2 hours. And I think I did it in 128.
140. No, it was like 136.
130 something. Yeah.
Anyway,
but it was just from walking. That's all I did. And it was amazing. So, so I'm a big, walk is good. Walk, even 10 minutes outside, it doesn't.
Yeah. So there's multiple facets of walking. One, highly recommend it outside. That's where you're going to get the most benefits, vitamin D, all the things. Be outside, even if it's cold, even if it's raining. Just do it. It's fun. Yep. And you can listen to a podcast and you just get through it and it's good for you. It is a great form of movement because it's low stress. It's not going to spike your cortisol. It's going to keep your blood sugar level, all those good things. It actually, really cool studies are coming out, with walking specifically, your brain has more access to oxygen. Okay. And so they're doing all these studies now about how much more creative you get. 60% more creative when you're walking. So if you're a business owner or somebody that has to generate a lot of ideas for work or their job, or you just
a toddler.
Yeah. Walking is I have some of my best ideas, and it's so funny. We'll call each other and be like, "Oh, you're out on a walk," and we'll talk because I feel it things flow better, and that's just your brain's getting more oxygen. It opens you up for a lot of things, and those benefits actually last for 6 to 8 hours after you are done walking. Also, it's great for your butt. It's great exercise in general, just for physical fitness, but it's one of the most underrated ways to move your body, especially for women. So highly, highly, highly recommend getting out for a walk every day. So those are our top 5. So if you're listening and you're like, okay, I just want to try something, dip my toe in holistic health, I don't know really where to start. Those would be our 5 recommendations for you. You don't have to do them all at once, but pick 1, pick 2, and just kind of start to dive into this stuff because it's pretty cool. You'll start to change. You really will. Just with simple habits. So yeah, that's really all we have for you today. I hope you guys just enjoyed a little bit more info on how we got started and where we're going and what our mission is as a company. And thank you for listening and being here and following and being a part of the community. We always tell people, if you're doing this, if you're on this train, this holistic wellness train, even if you just got on and you've been on it for years, it is the hard path. It really is. And you are now a part of the solution. You're no longer feeding into the problem. And that's super empowering and super encouraging to think about when you're having bad days, or when you're like, God, I wish I was just ignorant again, because I hate knowing stuff, and I want to go get the ice cream cake from DQ for my birthday or whatever. And then I can't unknow stuff. When you're having those days, be encouraged that you're now a part of a solution and a bigger mission, especially for women. So
and you're not alone. We are out here. I mean, not just us, but there are a lot of us that are really starting to awaken and open our eyes to kind of
what's
where we've
really,
all been, and yeah, and where we want to go. So yeah.
yeah. So anyways, so Thursday, so excited. We're gonna have Meg come on. She is the acne nutritionist. She is amazing. We have loved getting to know her over the last few weeks, and she is gonna come on and talk all about that. We had some requests to do live training about skin, and so I think that's going to be so helpful. I know so many women struggle with acne, not just like facial acne, but everywhere.
Yeah, chest acne a lot of times is a big one, and yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be really, really great and informative, and she's amazing. So we hope to see you guys all on Thursday. It's going to be at 4 p.m., not at 1 o'clock like we normally do, because she is in Hawaii. I hate her. Yeah, we hope to see you guys there. And again, just let us know like your thoughts.
Anything, or if there's something you want us to talk about, that too. We're like totally open.
We do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So until next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.